I hate when people put in debt because I think that debt is debt. No, it just depends on where you put it.
Wait,
You can
what?
get a college education for 50,000 if you do what you're supposed to do. Under 50,000, a car costs 50,000. One is a revolving, one is installment debt. So
Mhm.
one is investing in yourself, one is investing in something that depreciates. So
Oh
let's
God,
not talk like people are
no,
just not in debt. You get in debt for a
no.
car,
Oh
you get in
God.
debt for different reasons. So
Oh,
one is
Yes.
the reason is irrelevant. When you go down and sit with a mortgage company, they don't care what kind of debt you have. All they know is, well, yeah. No, let me back up. When we calculate your net worth, it doesn't matter what kind of debt you have. There's no such thing as good debt and bad debt. It's debt is debt. You owe. That's a major problem. Welcome back to Money, Marriage, and Media. I'm your host, Mike, and we are looking for 1,000 subscribers. We're checking out the Lapeef experience. Woman says she's more attracted to the mentality, not the salary. This show is She Critiquing. Let's go ahead and hit the button.
mentality than I am the salary. So if you come with the deficit mentality, that is not attractive for. If you come and say, "Oh, I can't do," I'm gonna look at
Mhm.
you like I'm not even looking at your salary. But the fact that you have this stipulation and you have these can'ts in your head, like I can't, that is so unattractive. Let's start there.
Well,
Um, but
look at the work ethic too. Look at the work ethic.
of course, the mental.
So black boys, unfortunately, it's only athletes and rappers that they see are very successful to get all the women. And unfortunately, the women keep messing with these guys. So when you see a bunch of black boys wanting to be rappers and on the court all day, they're showing that like they literally stay in the studio for 18 hours. They're showing the same work ethic anybody else shows to be the successful version of a male in their ethnic group. You see what I'm
Yeah, but if
saying?
they don't think that
It's
they
me.
can, then they
No, I'm
won't
no. Oh
do
no,
the
no. I'm
work
not saying
stuff
they should be
either. You know what
rappers.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
The
I'm not saying they
Like
should be
likelihood,
with what
rappers.
Shan was saying.
I would think if you invest that same amount of time and energy, the likelihood of you becoming a famous rapper or an NBA star or football player is not at the same level of you investing the time in education to become
I
a doctor
I
or
agree.
lawyer or
I
okay.
agree. So and you got to realize too, we give an overrepresentation of the black men doing bad. Remember
Oh,
that
thank you.
we give such an overrepresentation of that.
Do.
Over 54% of black men don't even have kids. They are middle class earners that are doing cybersecurity. They work for the city. They're electricians, and this is the point I really want to make, so people don't annoy me. Black women, especially, have no business saying a black man is not an asset to them because a black electrician that makes 65K because he works at a company, then he gets on Thumbtack and does jobs like that, has no student debt because he had an apprenticeship, is more of an asset than a female counselor who makes 65K with 75K in debt. When they go to get a home, if they get married, her debt is weighing down their debt to income ratio. They won't get that house because of her, not him.
So let me like I hate when people put in debt because I think that debt is debt. No, it just depends on where you put it.
Wait,
You can
what?
get a college education for 50,000 if you do what you're
Mhm.
supposed to do. Under 50,000, a car costs 50,000. One is a revolving, one is installment debt. So
Mhm.
one is investing in yourself, one is investing in something that depreciates. So
Oh
let's
God,
not talk like people are
no,
just not in debt. You get in debt for a
no.
car,
Oh
you get in
God.
debt for different reasons. So one
Oh,
is
Yes.
the reason is irrelevant. When you go down and sit with a mortgage company, they don't care what kind of debt you have. All they know is, well, yeah. No, let me back up. When we calculate your net worth, it doesn't matter what kind of debt you have. There's no such thing as good debt and bad debt. It's debt is debt. You owe. That's a major problem. And this is the kind, believe it or not, I have to, like, when I was a financial coach, this is the kind of mentality I had to deal with, and I had to break it down and explain to people that no, debt is debt. You have a negative net worth. It doesn't matter that it was student loans and you finesse that to get a high paying job. That's irrelevant because you're still broke. You still have to pay back that loan, and like none of that stuff. This is a major problem when you want to talk about building. A lot of times we put too much emphasis on salary. and not enough emphasis on net worth and actually ensuring that the generation that we are raising is going to be better off than us. Because in a lot of ways, our parents failed us in that our net worths are negative because of the fact that there was so much emphasis on going to school at any cost. See, that's where you get now you got a generation of people who have all these student loan debts and they're praying for the government is going to erase this stuff. But I mean, student loan forgiveness, yeah, that has a 98% rejection rate. My advice is that, well, look, we're not here to talk about the education system. The point is that Shan made the statement earlier that the mentality is more important than salary. I'll agree with that because most women don't know numbers like that. Like you could like they'll understand when you tell them what your salary is, but most women, even and I would include most men with this, don't know what to do with their money in the even pass. Oh, okay, well you make this amount of money. Most people don't know what to do with their money. Yeah, everybody says invest. Okay, invest how? Like I'm telling you, most people don't know what to do with their money. That's why salary is not as important. When you start drawing the line in the sand that says net worth, that's a different conversation. I can't tell you how many times I sat down with somebody and this family, how many families I sat down with, and they make better than average money. Their household income is up there, but they're still broke because they don't know what to do with their money. They've got massive student loans and car notes and all this other stuff, right? And they think they're doing good because their salary's high. It's a lot of guys out there too like that. And unfortunately, because we don't train our kids as to what to do with their money, it becomes a repetitive cycle. We got to do a better job of raising our kids. I'm gonna keep saying that because it's true. But we got to get back on topic here. But I had to stop because where she is going with that student loan thing, it's like reinvesting in yourself. You don't need to take out a loan and invest in yourself. You don't. I'm sorry. That way of thinking is old, and all it leads to is lower net worth. Because if you ask, if I always ask this question, if you knew that every time you took out a loan, you lowered your net worth, how much money would you want to borrow? You're gonna take out a $50,000 loan to go make $45,000 a year, or an example that he used. You take out a $75,000 a year loan to make $65K. You're still broke. What was the point in that? You're better off getting a job where you make $40,000 a year with no debt. I know it sounds crazy, right? But I'm supposed to have this big salary. So much to talk about there, and I think I need to move on because I don't think they're gonna get that deep into that conversation.
Sure.
So let's not. We won't use that debt.
Well,
let me can I finish my.
Go ahead.
And as an educator, there's so many scholarships available. And when you're talking about med school, and I've said this before, right now there is a scholarship that for black men, not black women, for black men, free of charge at Tennessee State University. It's a cohort, Tennessee State University, undergrad, free of charge. And then you go to Meharry Medical School, free of charge. So there are scholarships out there. And if you do your work, if you invest that time into your education that you're investing into athletics, then you're going to get the scholarship.
Okay, so
is that like the same scholarship you get from basketball?
I like what she says, and I'm glad she said that about the scholarships. That is impressive. However, it doesn't refute Trigger Mike's point that he said earlier about where is the validation for the brothers who are going to do that? Because he mentioned this earlier about women are chasing athletes and rappers, athletes and entertainers. That's what when we're growing up, those are the guys who are getting all the girls. So that's why the guys want to throw themselves into that, even though the chances of success are infinitely smaller. You have a better chance of being a doctor, of being a successful doctor, than you do as making it as an entertainer. It's crazy how we never discuss that, but we have a generation who is focused on being famous. We got to break that cycle. We got to, like I said, we got to do a better job of raising our kids. Part of the issue with what he's talking about is that we have done a bad job of communicating who the responsible people are in our community, and we need to refocus on that.
Once again, okay, there's some points I wanted to make.
Can I say really quick? There's a doctor
Yeah.
that I know. She said she's 300 grand in debt. I was like, oh my god.
Yep.
But let me ask you. Let me say this: when you come out of debt,
Is she white?
let's
Out
take a look at
of,
this.
out of just
Really? No, I was kidding. Yeah, she is. But her husband is not. She's the breadwinner. But
And
yeah.
the reason I say that is because even for women, even for women, minority women, those opportunities are available as well for them
Yep.
to go to school for,
for sure.
having, right. So that's
All right.
why, out of curiosity. So
I just don't know the cost of med school, you know.
No,
It's
that's
too
actually
much.
average.
Let
That's
me
the
let me
average.
say this. Okay, let's do some math here. Medical school costs $200,000. Okay,
Yep.
let's just take her $300,000 debt. How much do average doctors get paid?
Somewhere around the like 200.
Right.
It depends on the specialty. Let's
specialty.
Yeah, it goes up with specialty.
It
Yes.
depends on your specialty. So let's just say she left with $300,000, $300,000 debt. When we're talking about surgeons, all types of doctors, let's just say the minimum $100,000, $150,000, almost $200,000. Okay, that 1 year is almost the amount of that debt. You see what I'm saying? So how about that over and over, and for 30 years in, you've paid that college off and some.
well,
Nobody's
Told
doing
you
that.
female doctors don't work for 30 years.
But hold on. But not only that, because they're
Nobody's
in
doing
the
that.
medical field, they also would qualify for
Yes.
the write-off, like after paying for 10 years. So technically, you're
Oh,
paying
God.
on those student loans
Oh
for
God. 98% rejection rate. 98% of people who apply for student loan forgiveness get rejected. $300,000 or $200K in debt. And you're making $200K, you're broke. You can talk about, well, 1 year salary, and it doesn't work like that. That doesn't. They're not accounting for risk. See, the reason why I get so passionate about this, again, I've sat down with people and actually had these talks and talked it all the way through with multiple people. What they're talking about is the ideal scenario that rarely happens. I wish they would spend more time talking about the scholarship route, because that actually is a great thing. I wasn't aware of that, and that's great that they have done the research to find schools who are offering things like that. We need to get more information out like that. This idea that you're going to borrow your way to financial independence is just, it hardly ever works out like that. Because why? Because risk. Something comes up and you miss a payment, or something comes up and that person can't work anymore, and you've got this massive amount of debt hanging over you to where you can't do anything. It's like, it's problematic.
10 years, because they would have they would qualify for the public service loan forgiveness because of their field. So technically when you think about it, I may be $300,000 in debt, but this is a 10-year plan, because after I hit that 10th year, it wipes out. So in that regard, that investment paid for itself.
All right. So
I'm not sure if that's. I don't know any of this because I didn't go to med school, but she's like in her 40s, so I don't know what she did though, so it could be different.
She probably didn't apply.
She probably didn't apply. It's available to teachers, and it says
I don't freaking know.
I'm telling you.
So
98% rejection rate.
She's just living up in that mocha.
So I have to make a statement
she's
about
working.
what Mistaken was saying about all of these scholarships and all these things. That's great. They're going to stay there unused. Again, 70% of these boys alive today were raised by single mothers. Somehow, a single mom, not all but too many single moms, that had one son and one daughter. The daughter is a college graduate, and the son has a 4th grade reading level. He does not care about school, nor can he adequately complete that schoolwork because somehow his mom put him in all the sports. She remembered to play, take all the videos for max preps, but she did not prioritize his schooling. Not all, but too many. That is why those things will stay unused. We need black men in schools. And people keep saying, we need more black teachers. How? Black men don't go to college no more. Being a teacher involves a college degree. So you will not see black teachers, black male teachers pretty much ever again. Ever. Because they don't go to college. It's that particular thing where we can talk about what needs to happen all night long. Look at the problem on its surface staring us in the face back there. Right? Until these daddies get back in the home, or really that's not going to happen. Until it die off, everybody needs to die off. I'm sorry, we all going to die. Everybody needs to die off and rebuild itself. Right? We need to break off.
High level conversation, but I actually disagree with Mike. Problem's not going to get fixed until we start doing a better job of making the men who are the backbone of our society, the men in our community who are maintaining the world that we live in. We need to start highlighting them as the work that is being done by them. And we need to be teaching our kids this is what's valuable. As long as we keep highlighting athletes and entertainers, the real men that are the backbone of society go unnoticed. This is the real reason why you have, sons are reading on a 4th grade level, because they don't see the benefit in going and being, an electrician, being a plumber. I ain't cleaning no toilet. I ain't unclogging that toilet. Not turning a wrench, because there's literally, I hate to say this, but the younger generation is looking at where are the women, where is female attention concentrated at? And they're saying that, I got to adapt. I want that, and they want that. They want that over there. I got to go be that over there so I can get that, so I can get what I want. Until we start raising our children to work in better cooperation with each other, this thing is never going to get solved. And I stand firm on what I said about the debt issue. If you're going to school, if you're going to sit there and go into debt and borrow all that money, like, you're setting yourself up for failure at this point. Figure out what it is that you want and then figure out a way to do it without going into debt. That's the best financial advice I ever received. It's like, stop borrowing money. You cannot borrow your way to financial independence. It just doesn't work. At some point, you're going to have to pay back the loan. And this idea that, I went $200,000 in debt, but I make $200,000 a year, so everything's going to be okay. No, it's not. I'm telling you, I've sat down with these people, and the mentality is not there, because as soon as they get that job, guess what else happens? Lifestyle increases. So now you got a bunch of other problems. You end up with people in that situation. Most of them end up with the big 5. They end up with credit cards, car notes, private loans, student loans, and a mortgage. And they're done. That's it for them. They never pay off. They never get up from under the debt. And what's worse about it is that they end up being a slave to the debt, to the lifestyle that they're living. When you're a doctor and you work that many hours, the other problem that comes in is that you're never around for your kids, and rarely do they want to do what you do. Because they're looking at it as, it's not worth it because I never see that. I never see them. So you're going to have to figure out a balance. My thing is that, number one, stop taking on student loan debt is dumb. You're never going to convince me otherwise. You can say that I'm going to borrow it and leverage it to get this. Okay. Figure out a way to do that without going into debt, like the scholarships that they mentioned. If you can go that route, that's fantastic. Because you will literally springboard yourself into a better scenario. It'd be amazing how much you can accomplish when you don't have $200,000 loans sitting around your neck, weighing you down. Jesus. You want to do that with a house? Okay, yeah, house is an asset that's going to build up over time. Eventually, that house will be worth more than what you're paying the loan on for. I can get with that. But student loan debt that has interest on it, this is going to take you, 20, 30 years to pay it off. Miss me with that. That doesn't make any sense. And then the notion that, oh yeah, well, you can just pay it, and if you do everything perfect for 10 years, you have a 98% chance of getting rejected for the student loan forgiveness program. I'm telling you. Whew. We got a lot of work to do, people. Make sure you like and subscribe, and y'all are following, because we got to start breaking this stuff down, because that whole debt thing, oh God, that's just terrible advice. Ugh. I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace.